Welcome, everybody.
Music is perfect for Cinco de Mayo. Feliz Cinco de Mayo.
Cinco de Mayo. Mexicans don't even know what the hell we Americans are doing. Cinco de Mayo.
You know what? I know it's not Mexican Independence Day. Please, people,
it's
don't
our-
think it's don't think it's Mexican Independence Day. But it's an important day, regardless in Mexico, but not as important as people think here in this country. But this is like it's Margarita Day.
It's public education.
It's Margarita Day. So we're gonna have margaritas on the name of Cinco de Mayo celebration.
Welcome
today.
everybody to our weekly TLC Live. We do this every week here on Facebook, and we have a pretty packed show today. As you know, we just finished elections across the state of Texas, mostly school board elections, but special elections like bond issues and municipal elections. Happy to report that one of our endorsed candidates that was here several weeks ago, Roman Garcia, was elected city council member in the city of Kerrville. Against all odds, he was outspent. He ran against a very liberal woman that was the former mayor of Port Arthur, Texas, and we held a big rally for him on the Friday before the election. We were expecting a couple of, dozen people, maybe 25. The room was packed. It was standing room only. So it was a great turnout, and Roman was elected with a comfortable margin. So we want to congratulate him. He's 19 years old.
19 years old only, and we had him on the show, and we're so happy for him.
So good for Roman Garcia. And then, of course, we were down in the Rio Grande Valley several weeks ago and met a lot of wonderful people. And among those people are some wonderful and powerful Latinas. And what's interesting is, and we have two guests down from the Rio Grande Valley we're going to introduce here in just a moment. But the New York Times happened to be down there doing a story, a feature, when we were down there, when TLC, Texas Latino Conservatives, was down in the Rio Grande Valley. And it was published a couple of days ago. If you haven't read the article, it's up on the screen. Take a look at it, and they talk about the Latinas down in the Rio Grande Valley in Hidalgo and Cameron and the Brownsville area and probably all points south of Corpus Christi, Texas, how Latinas are taking the lead down in South Texas. So, speaking of those powerful Latina conservative women down in the Rio Grande Valley, we have two wonderful guests that Andrea is going to introduce.
Latina Power, el poder de las Latinas.
Okay, don't get carried away.
All right, our first guest today is our honor to introduce Janie Lopez. She is from San Benito ISD Board of Trustees. Janie, ¿cómo estás?
Muy bien, gracias. Buenos días.
Hey, Janie, good to see you again. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are y'all doing? Good to see you all.
Well, we're good. It's a beautiful day here in Houston, Texas. I hope it's nice and sunny and cool. Probably the last cool day we're going to have before the summer heat, right?
Yes.
So tell us what's going on down there. What happened during the elections? I'm assuming you guys had local elections on Saturday. Were there any favorable results you want to talk about?
In our situation, yes. And anything I say about our location here is based personally on my views, my opinions. Okay, so I'm in no way representing the district and speaking. I just wanted to make that clear.
That's your disclaimer. You must have talked to your lawyer first.
So we have to be careful in what we say because we do have policies and we have to follow our regulations and policies as board members also in the school district. Correct. So we did have elections recently, and the people that I was supporting, 2 out of the 3 did take office. And I'm very happy about that because that will give us more ability to be able to have a majority vote if necessary when we're passing new policies or regulations in the school district as well. But I'm looking forward to working with all the other board members, all 7 of us. There's 7 of us. It's a team of 8, including the superintendent. So we're looking forward to making very positive changes in the realm of improving our district, providing quality services for our students and our community.
So, Janie, congratulations. I'm glad that two-thirds of your candidates were elected. Let's talk a little bit about background. It had nothing to do with the school board. Tell the viewers, who's Janie? Where do you come from? What is your background? Tell us your story. How did you decide to run for the board of trustees down there?
Thank you. Yes, I am a generation immigrant. My parents migrated from Mexico. They came here legally to the U.S., and my parents always enforced education. They said education is important, and you all need to work hard to get what you want, right? Because they had lived in poverty when they were living in Mexico, so they escaped that, and they wanted the best for us. So education was a priority. Myself, as a Spanish-speaking person, I struggled in school. And the blessing was that the teachers didn't give up on me. Graduated with honors, went to college. I didn't know anything about college. I just said, I heard it's a good thing. I want to do this. Eventually, I graduated with a bachelor's in business, master's in business, and a master's in education. Worked in the school districts for about 14 years. I've worked with three different districts. In the end, I was a director of the counseling program in the local district. And years later, fast forward, there was a situation that was going on in our district where one of the school board members had been arrested for DWI. The kids were asking, why is this happening? Why is this being allowed? Why isn't this person being held accountable? So that's why I started getting more involved in the community. A few years later, after that, after he was ordered suspension from the judge, we had to go to that extent of taking this to court. He was ordered suspension. Eventually, he stepped down, and after the DA started investigating further. After
Wow.
that, people started encouraging me to run for office. I've never been an outspoken person. I dedicated my life to just working full time and going to school. I was working on my doctorate. I said, I'll pray about it. And if this is God's will, I'll do it. Everything fell into place. And that's how I got into office.
Fantastic.
That's great. And you say something, education. Education is the key. Education gives us the power. And I was reading your bio, and you were saying that you are the first immigrant, generation immigrant, and you say that you were able to achieve the American dream. For what is the American dream for you?
For me, the American dream is achieving any goals that I want. And if I work hard, I'll achieve the goals. That's how I see it. If I don't work hard at it, I won't achieve my goals. And so never losing that perspective of where do I want to end up. And right now, I am self-employed. I don't have to worry about any boss telling me what to do, what not to do. I make my own decisions. Make my own work schedule. I'm a mental health professional, and I'm still working to finish up my doctorate. So those are my goals. That's what I see the American dream is.
Janie, it always strikes me as interesting how there's a dichotomy between what the media reports about Latinos in Texas and what actually is happening on the ground. I always stress to everybody that's watching this show that you're watching three Latino immigrants here. Andrea is an immigrant from Colombia. I'm an immigrant from Cuba. Janie Lopez, the school board member in San Benito down in the Rio Grande Valley, is an immigrant from Mexico. And we need not lose sight of that, because that is a different image than what the mainstream media wants Hispanics in Texas to believe, that we're all on the left, we're all liberals, we all depend on government. Yes, we depend on government for certain things, like what Janie is doing, public education, which is funded through taxpayer dollars, property taxes, and we depend on government for infrastructure. But the rest of us want to decide our own destiny. Hispanics come here, Latinos come here, immigrants come here, as Janie said, to fulfill our vision of the American dream, whatever that is. For Janie, it's a bachelor's degree as an immigrant, a master's degree, pursuing a PhD, holding elected office. I, as an immigrant, got elected as the first immigrant elected, Hispanic immigrant in the city of Houston and Harris County. And so that is the American dream. We're living it. And so when the media says that conservatives are anti-immigration, anti-immigrant, That's not true. And so, Janie, one of the questions I have, because I'm always fascinated by how how do we arrive, or when did you decide that when you became politically active, whenever that is, when you voted when you were 18, or but what made you realize that on the political spectrum you're a conservative?
For me, I was used to the everybody votes Democrat, as Hispanics, let's support all the Democrats. It wasn't until the second reelection of Obama, because I even voted for Obama the first time, but the second reelection of Obama, when I started paying attention to what their agenda was and letting men into women's restrooms. I'm a mental health professional. I don't agree with men being in girls' restrooms. That's dangerous. And when I started seeing those agendas, and then fast forward a few years later, when Trump was running for office, I started noticing what was being said in the media was tailored to their bias. It wasn't truly representing what was being said in the live showings when I would listen to the candidates. And so that started pushing me more also towards conservative values. I'm a Christian. I'm a strong believer of Jesus Christ. I will not stand for someone that goes against my Christian values. I'm nothing without God. And so I see that in this situation, the Republican Party supports our Christian values. I've supported Democrats that support our Christian values. I supported our Senator Eddie Lucio because he is pro life. So to me, it's about supporting the people that will support our values. And if
Well,
it's the
good.
Republican Party, then that's who I will support.
Well, great. Any message you want to leave the viewers? Talk about any important issues facing education down in the Rio Grande Valley?
It's very important that we do get involved. There is a book that actually helped me also make the decision to run for school board, and it's called The Next Red Wave by Jordan Seculo. And on that one, Jordan explains that if we want to make a difference in our communities, we have to start at the local level.
Mm-hmm.
These positions are very important because they impact you directly. It impacts your children, it impacts the future generations. So start getting involved. It's important for you all to start attending meetings in the local offices. Start running for office because guess what? If you have conservative values, you don't run for office. Guess what? The people that don't have conservative values will run and they will get in there. So it's important that you all start getting involved. The conservatives, pray about it. Don't give up. Speak up. Go to the medias when you need to. Speak up against items that you're not in agreement and start getting more involved. It's very important. You all can make a difference.
Um, Janie, what do you need? What do you think we need as community, as Latinos? Because I always hear, well, you guys are very quiet. You guys are never participate. You guys never do. You guys never talk, never speak. I mean, I've been seeing that we're being more active, little by little, not as we want. But what do you think we need to just be, loud, but not loud in a bad way, loud like make our voice to be here.
Exercise your freedom of free speech. Get out there. If you don't agree with something, go to your city councils, go to your school boards, speak up. And as you start speaking up, you're going to make connections with other people. Like I said, I was a person that was just at home working hard all the time. But the reason people started connecting with me was because I spoke up against what I didn't agree with on Facebook. I made a live video and I said, I don't agree with what's going on in the school district. Why is this happening? People started connecting with me. There are thousands and thousands of people out there that agree with you, and you'll start making those connections. So start getting involved, get active. The
Well,
left
that's
has a lot of energy. We need to put our energy into our country as well, or we're going to lose our country.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Janie, thank you for your time. Let me just tell you, it was a real honor and a pleasure to meet you down there. And I wouldn't have understood that New York Times article that came out a couple of weeks ago unless I was down in the Rio Grande Valley and saw the activism by conservative women that have decided, like you have, to lead. And Texas desperately needs the conservative voice. And I am just delighted to hear the rising voice down from the Rio Grande Valley that says, that's a misrepresentation of who we are. We're actually very conservative. These are our values, and you guys are very loud and proud. So thank you for taking the time to be with us. And speaking of somebody that stands up and is loud and proud, we were down in the Rio Grande Valley and also met Anel Castillo. So Anel is with us. And Anel, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
How are you?
Hello. I'm good. I'm doing good. I'm blessed. How about yourself?
Well, good. We had a great conversation when we were down in the Rio Grande Valley, and we were talking issues like we are today, and Anel said we were talking about exactly what Janie was talking about, men and girls' bathrooms, the whole, look, as a conservative,
And Annelle is a mother of three.
yeah.
Happy Mother's Day, by the way. It's coming up.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank
And
you.
so we were talking issues like Janie was just a moment ago about uh, the public policies that are being crammed down our throats. Now, as a conservative, I'm for everybody living their own life. If you're gay and want to marry,
That's fine.
that's fine.
Me
That's
too,
that's
you
that's
know.
that's your choice.
And I have very good friends that they're gays, and it's okay.
And under the Constitution, you have rights, and we honor those. But don't force us to celebrate your lifestyle, and that's what's going on. Hey Ray, does Ray know that we can hear him? Can we turn? Ray, can you turn
Yes,
your
hi
mic
there.
off? Yeah. Anyway, down back to the Rio Grande Valley. So we were engaged in this conversation about schools indoctrinating and not educating. And
Correct.
Anel told me an interesting story. As the mother of three, Anel, what was first of all, let's do a little bio. Tell us about Anel. Where are you from? How did you decide to become more active in your community as a conservative?
Well, my name is Anel Castillo. I was born and raised in Brownsville, Texas. My parents, I grew up in a Christian home, very conservative values and Christian morals. I grew up, I got married, went to school, had my children started at age 22. And I got and everything started back in 2016 when President Trump was running for president. So I usually don't watch much news, but I would see all this commotion. Well, actually, back to Obama, to the years of Obama, President Obama, when he was in office, and I started seeing his agenda. That I used to call him the social elite president because he was more into Hollywood with all these stars instead of worrying about the American people. I started seeing what he was standing for, what he stood for, with all these liberal ideologies that he was bringing towards America. And for me, America was founded on biblical values. Our founding fathers um, um, was founded on our Christian faith, and I just figured I would see that Obama was trampling all over our Christian values, our conservative values. That he turned his left cheek to say to ignore us, the American people. And when 2016, I didn't vote for Obama. In 2016, I voted for President Trump because he's the president that stood up for the American people, stood up for the Christian values here in America. So I started seeing all this agenda that the left was starting to carry, and I was like, no, not on my watch. I remember Orlando said those tiger moms. I'm a tiger mom, and I'm gonna speak up, and I'm not gonna stay silent, letting this administration indoctrinate our children. And that I had a situation happen to me in the year 20 last year with one of my son's school teacher. I had a episode with that. My son was doing virtual learning, and I it was to say the most. It was a law enforcement teacher that started speaking about President Trump and actually using foul language. And I ran upstairs to where he was at, and I told him, log off your classroom. I called the principal, and I let him have it. And I told him, uh, your job, your teacher, her job as educators to educate academically, not to indoctrinate my child or to be speaking of this nonsense about their political views. So my the principal was actually agreeing with me in certain areas, and I told him, I'm like, if you're not gonna speak about God in school, don't speak about politics, especially to my child, which I'm trying to educate. He's a conservative. I'm trying to educate my son, my children, in Christian morals, biblical truths. And for a teacher to come and speak her ideology, her opinions, her biased opinions about a president, a sitting president, it wasn't sitting well with me. So that was the experience I had. I called my pastor. I was like, "Can I have some advice, like in what to say?" Because the principal was gonna get back to me, and he gave me godly advice on what to say, and I said it. And but I'm very upset because this a lot of parents think it's the government's job to educate our children, and it's not. It's our responsibility as parents to educate first biblical morals to our children. Everything starts at home. So
Well,
I'm
yeah,
very
I
upset.
cannot be more agree with you. It's I always say we are the first teachers, and the kids reflect what they see at home. We need to talk to our kids. We need to educate our kids. It's not the government job. It's our job as a parents and mother. We play a big role on that, and I love it, Anel, that you were able to talk to that teacher and call the principal and make your voice on that situation, because that's what we need more mothers like you.
Yes, and I've spoken to other mothers as well. Those tiger moms and in the area of Brownsville to one of her name's I forgot her name. I went blank. Um,
That's fine.
Jessica and Nelda, they're tiger moms, and there's a movement starting in Brownsville that I want to rise up to wake up these moms to for them to realize what's going on in these school districts, that they want to bring this equality act, these uh, ungodly morals to the schools. And I think I asked God, what's my calling is, and I finally I realized that it's mothers. I need to make this movement with mothers to raise up and defend
Mm-hmm.
our children
Mm-hmm.
with all these immoral values that they're trying to indoctrinate our children in the schools. And I want to do that. I want to raise my voice. I want to speak the word of God. Because like I said, everything starts at home. Everything starts at home. That's where it starts. And like you said, it reflects. And yes, it's going to reflect on you. And we're going to raise these kids to first fear the Lord and do everything that's right and have American values, conservative values, and biblical values first.
And also, you are involved in this movement. You were talking about the pastor and the Make America Godly Again. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, that started last year, our Make America Godly Again in our church. Our pastor, Luis Cabrera, and our city church members, we started this movement that we have to go all the way, we have to finish. And it's the purpose of this is to go and fill up heaven and empty hell and speak the word of God, reach to those souls for them to look and see what's going on in our country, that the left is trying to bring this immorality to America, and it's already here. But it's our job as Christians to go and spread the gospel, to go in the name of Jesus and speak to these people that say, "Come back to Jesus, come back and do the right thing, and bring back the biblical morals, biblical values, and our American values as well," because that's something that's being lost in America. It has forgotten that, and that is our job, to go and speak the word of God. That is our mission, to make America godly again.
Now, you eventually removed your children from the public school and moved them over to a private school, as I recall.
This is the last year, because it's gonna finish. That's a decision I have made already. They're finishing up. Their last day is June 13th, and I'm pulling them out of public school and going to a Christian private school in Brownsville, because I'm not gonna. I don't want my children growing up, since I'm the one teaching these morals, these biblical values at home. I don't want them to be in a public school where they're gonna teach them immorality, like this equality act. I'm not going to have my children indoctrinating when I'm doing my best to lead my children.
Well, at least you have the choice to make, and I'm afraid, and I always wonder, when the government is going to take those free choices away from us. But I think Janie is still on. So let me ask Janie a question because I'm assuming, Janie, there's a lot of pressure on school boards and elected officials like you. Um, how do you guys at your school board, or maybe just you, are you guys aware of the difference between education and indoctrination?
Of course. This is actually something that I have been addressing myself with our own lawyer, our superintendent. I feel that this is something very important, that everybody needs to remain impartial in the school district. I was a teacher also, so I know that we cannot impose our biases on students. We need to respect all student values. In a school district, you have a multitude of different values, different perspectives of students, and our job as educators is to give the students the ability to express themselves and to be that educational facility that allows them to be themselves in their education. I know that in our school district we have actually some local policies, and always keep in mind federal laws, state laws supersede policies, okay? And so we always have to go by whatever federal state laws have for us, anything that has been decided already in the courts as well, okay? And so the local policies that we have is that teachers, staff are supposed to remain impartial in any objective manner. Teachers shall not use the classroom to transmit personal beliefs regarding political or sectarian issues. Students and educators shall ensure that, to the extent possible, discussions are conducted fairly and courteously. That's one of the local policies that we have, the EMB. And then the FNA is another one. And it says the district will treat students' voluntary expression of a secular or other viewpoint on an otherwise permissible subject and shall not discriminate against the student based on a religious viewpoint expressed by the student on an otherwise permissible subject. So this is very important for students and parents to know. We have to remain unbiased.
Yeah.
We're not here to enforce anybody's viewpoints
Okay. Well,
other
I'm
than
sure you
support
guys, yeah,
students' learning.
and I, look, I salute you. You guys at the school board level have a tough, tough job, and we understand. And I think it's important that you remain neutral in the classroom, that you allow students to express themselves, whatever those views are. But I'm glad that at least you guys recognize the difference between indoctrination and education. All right, we're going to go back to here to Houston and bring in Raimundo. So Janie and Anel, want to thank you for taking the time out to be with us and letting us know what's going on down there. And
Thank you.
We're looking forward to
Thank
coming
you.
back in the next few months. So God bless you both. Best of luck, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you. God
God
bless.
bless
All
you.
right,
See
bye
you.
bye,
Thank you.
bye, ladies.
Bye.
And so
Bye.
there you have the tough ladies of the Rio Grande Valley and why
My
the Rio
God,
Grande
so
Valley
proud
is
of,
being
so
transformed.
proud of them.
Yeah.
I mean, thanks to Obama, they both mentioned Obama, and they said, well, we vote for Obama, and then when we saw his agenda, we just said, no, he doesn't represent our values. And that's what we always emphasize in a TLC and Texas Latino Conservatives, vote
Vote
your
your
values. It's not for this party or for this person. No, vote your values. And that's what they've been doing. You know, they were voting for this person. They thought that person represented their values. And then they realized, no, hold on, it's not representing our values. So they realized that, okay, the Republican Party or the person that they were voting after that, it was representing their values. And that's what it's all about it.
Yeah, and Janie talked about that. I mean, Janie talked about voting values and how she talked about that she personally supported President Trump because of his policies. You know, I heard a quote yesterday from a friend of mine who's a former judge and actually still visiting judge, so I won't tell you his name, but he made a very interesting comment to me that I had not heard before, and I'll say this. That President Trump was probably the worst person we elected to the presidency, but not the worst president we've
Which is
ever
completely
elected.
different.
Yeah, and so I think, you know, the media and the people looked at the personality and, you know, nobody's perfect. I mean, everybody's got their personal flaws, right? But I think that most
En
Americans...
español se dice, no eres monedita de oro para caerle bien a todo el mundo.
Así es. Entonces, you know, I thought that was an interesting quote. But I'm just glad that people are waking up and everybody sees that our border communities get it. They are not going to be fed anymore of, you know, the leftists' messages, and they're standing up, and it's these tiger moms, it's these Latinas.
Love the tiger mom, Latinas.
They
That's
get-
what my kids call me, tiger mom.
They're the Latinas that get their chanclas out and
See?
go chasing the liberals out of their communities. So
Yeah.
anyway, 5 de mayo tenemos a Raimundo, así
5
que
de mayo,
presenta-
but talking about conservative and talking about immigrant and talking about Latinos
y luchadores.
y luchadores y empresarios, tenemos a Raimundo Abarca de Rice Mexican Restaurant. Raimundo, ¿cómo estás?
Muy bien, muy bien, gracias por tenerme aquí. Thank you very much.
Rey, es un placer tenerte y verte otra vez porque como tú sabes, yo he ido a tu restaurante con una amiga muy
Sí.
cercana tuya y que fue la que me presentó y me introdució al restaurante y vamos a ir una noche. No esta noche porque ya tenemos el horario lleno, pero André y yo vamos a ir.
Vamos
pero-
a ir a comer, a comernos unos platillos mexicanos. ¿La comida es de México, pero de una parte específica de México, o lo tienes Tex-Mex,
Tex-Mex.
o de qué es la comida?
Sí, es Tex-Mex.
Las
Eso es lo que
margaritas,
se
mira.
nos dio. Hemos trabajado por 30 y tantos años en restaurante Tex-Mex. So, nos ha ido muy bien. No podemos quejarnos. Sí. God is good. Can't
Awesome.
complain.
Awesome.
You know, and
Ray, you have a saying when your customers walk into your restaurant. What do you tell your customers? You're very famous out in the Katy area for it.
welcome home.
Welcome home.
So when you go into Ray's restaurant, the first thing they say is "Welcome home."
Welcome home.
And so
You feel like home.
Thursday night, Friday nights, there's always a long line to get in.
Oh my God, we need to go. We need to go. Katie is not far from the studio, so we need to go, have margaritas y comer algo. Pero, Rey, cuéntanos un poco de tu historia. Sabemos que eres de Morelos, México. ¿Y cuándo llegaste aquí a los Estados Unidos y cómo empezaste? Porque tienes una historia increíble.
Bueno, yo llegué aquí a Houston, Texas, con un amigo que ni siquiera sabíamos a dónde íbamos a llegar. Empecé a trabajar como lavaplatos en un restaurante que se llama Molinas. No sé si puedo mencionar nombres.
Sí, claro.
Claro que sí.
Claro.
Sí, llegué a los 17 años. Como te digo, es algo sencillo, nada más que trabajando. Y con la ayuda de Dios siempre pasan cosas buenas.
Es verdad.
Tenemos 36 años trabajando en restaurante. Trabajé como lavaplatos, te digo, trabajé en la preparación de la cocina, ayudante de mesero, como bartender, como mesero, y después tuve la oportunidad de conocer a mi cuñado, en paz descanse, Tony Vega. Él abrió un restaurante en Katy, que ahora es Ray's Mexican Restaurant. Lo tuvo por 2 años y tuve la oportunidad de poder comprar una parte del negocio en ese tiempo. Después, en 4 o 5 años después, pude comprar la otra parte del socio que tenía y finalmente aquí estamos trabajando.
That's an incredible story. Let me just translate a little bit. Ray's telling us that he's from Morelos, Mexico, immigrated here when he was 17 years. He's worked every sector of the restaurant industry from the time he was 17 years old. He's been in the business for 36 years. He's been a dishwasher, a bar back, a bartender, a waiter. He's been in the kitchen. And so obviously he knows the restaurant business in and out. And he was able to meet a gentleman and get involved in the restaurant business as an equity partner. And then he's bought several restaurants. And he says it's a blessing. And again, here we have an immigrant that is living the American dream. He's employing Texans. He's paying taxes. He's paying salaries. He's providing an atmosphere that is joyous to the community out in West Texas. You know, people love to go to Ray's restaurant, and you know, the first thing you're greeted with is welcome home, and then of course you go right into the great food and the great margaritas where we should be having
Oh,
today.
yeah, Cinco de Mayo. Because I told Ray when we invite him to be part of the show, I said, Ray, you want to come to the studio? You want to be with us? He said, I want to go, but it's Cinco de Mayo. We're going to be very busy.
Yeah. Well, thank God for
Yeah.
Zoom and technology. So, Ray, how busy are you today? How long will the waiting line be outside the door?
Oh my God. Today, you know, is one of my best days. I mean, the best in the whole year, you know. And like I say, it's a bless having that type of customers. They believe in you. They like your food. They like your service. You know, and they're becoming a family for me. I mean, it's a really, really big family. I mean, what can I say? You know, I mean, I have no words to thank, you know, to my customers to keep me busy, right? But thanks God to give me the opportunity to have, I mean, you know, what we have. I never dreamed to go into this point of having a restaurant. You know, I never thought about. I mean, I just work hard. You know, we keep working, and you guys know, and the ladies you interviewed before, we got the same thing. You know, if you work hard, good things is gonna happen. But you have to believe in God too.
Yeah,
And you
and you
know,
said it clear. With God, always good things gonna happen. And we were talking with these two ladies, el Poder Latino, and they were, you know, we were talking about vote your values. So tell us about your conservative values and why you feel that you identify more with that.
well, I got, you know, I'm an old-fashioned guy. You
So
know,
me too. I'm
yeah,
old.
yeah, me
soy,
too.
soy viejo, Rey.
No,
The
yo
old fashioned.
también. Yeah, so I mean, you know, we grew up in a small town. You know, I mean, I mean, I was very poor when I grew up, but that's what I mean. You cannot do, I mean, or you cannot have your own business if you want, if you work hard. Everybody had to know, you know, if you come to United States, you know, what I'll tell them, work. Don't ask the government to do something for you. You know, you come from a different country where, I mean, they don't give you anything. Here they give you everything. You just gotta work, and if you work, you're gonna get a good things. You know, and that's what I do. Really, I mean, just work. I mean, no, nothing is special. I don't
Well,
do
that's
nothing
right,
special.
Ray. You know, this is what I try to tell people all the time. Yo les trato de explicar a las personas que no entienden porque las imágenes que ponen los medios por la televisión, por la noticia, es que somos todos inmigrantes ilegales que venimos aquí a chuparle al gobierno, a quitar. Pero al contrario, los inmigrantes que han llegado aquí trabajan duro,
Contribuimos.
contribuimos, pagamos impuestos, le damos empleo a nuestros empleados, ayudamos a las familias en nuestras comunidades. Tú le das alimentos a toda la comunidad en el oeste de Harris County. I mean, this is a this is a story that I was excited about bringing to you because the media portrays Ray's an immigrant from Mexico. He says he grew up extremely poor, came to the United States at 17, washed dishes. Folks, this is the image of the immigrant. This is the immigrant that comes here to work hard, to live the American dream, to make a contribution. It's not the image that you see that the mainstream media portrays of the immigrants. I'm an immigrant. I sought asylum in this country. I was a refugee. We're all blessed to be in America, and we love this country that's given us the great opportunities that we have. The ability for Ray to provide for his family and his children and improve their future. The ability for me to send my daughter to prestigious universities across the United States and improve her quality of life. The ability for Andrea to send her kids to the school of her choice and give them a better quality of life. And that, folks, we're living as immigrants the American dream. It's not the image you see portrayed on television. And I'm saying all this, Rey, estoy explicando todo esto porque
Yeah.
estoy tratando de cambiar un poco la imagen que tienen muchas personas del inmigrante. El problema, y queremos seguir hablando del restaurante, pero vamos a hablar un poco de la política porque este programa es político.
Sí.
La imagen que presentan del inmigrante es lo que ven en la frontera. Y la culpa de verdad no la tiene el ser humano que quiere mejorar su vida. El inmigrante como yo, como usted, como Andrea. La culpa por el relajo que está sucediendo en la frontera es la culpa del gobierno norteamericano, el Congreso y el presidente, que no enfuerzan las leyes norteamericanas. Y lo que está sucediendo es un relajo, no solamente para nosotros que somos los contribuyentes de impuestos, que tenemos que absorber todos estos gastos, sino también para las personas que viven en la frontera y los inmigrantes que viajan miles y miles de millas. Muchos fallecen por el calor, por el cruzar el desierto, por los pandilleros que están en los países. Es una tragedia. Pero yo quiero cambiar la imagen, que no es tanto la culpa del inmigrante, sino una falla del gobierno norteamericano. Y tú eres, Rey, eres esa imagen, la imagen del inmigrante que ha llegado aquí, ha trabajado, ha luchado, se está moviendo adelante y queremos hoy celebrar eso. I mean, Ray, the image that I was talking about is that the image that all of this crisis at the border is the fault of the immigrants. No, it's human nature. Everybody wants to improve their quality of life and wants to even more desperately improve the quality of life for their children. That's what Andrea did as an immigrant. That's what I did as a refugee. That's what Ray did when he was 17 and came and worked as a dishwasher at Molina's Restaurants and has been in the industry for 36 years. It's human nature to improve the quality of your life. The problem and the crises at the border is really the result of the failures of the U.S. Congress to change the immigration laws and the executive branch through the presidency that we have now to enforce the current laws that we have on the books, plain and simple. So I want to change that image that a lot of people have of the immigrants. Immigrants come here and make great contributions, and yes, occasionally there'll be drug cartels.
But everywhere,
Right.
in every community.
And we have law enforcement that weeds them out.
Of course.
And so, anyway, that's my editorial comment for the day. Back to Cinco de Mayo. Ray, tell us about your margaritas. Are they the best in town?
Oh, they're the best in town. You already have some margaritas from my place. And, we find the recipe with, we got it. People like it a lot. And like I said, you already tried. I mean, I'm not going to lie. to the people. I mean,
Yeah,
you're already got these margaritas,
Ray,
and
don't tell them how many I had, okay?
Oh no, no.
Oh my God, I need to go. But Ray, did you find interesting when you start in a business restaurant that Cinco de Mayo? You just said it a couple of minutes ago. You said is the best day in the entire year. Do you find interesting that here they celebrate Cinco de Mayo when you guys over there in Mexico hardly celebrate that date?
Well, es 5 de mayo es la batalla de Puebla.
Correcto.
Supuestamente en ese tiempo pelearon contra los franceses. En ese tiempo Francia era una potencia militar. Y al
Correcto.
derrotarlos, o sea, México era más que nada gente y con palos y machetes y todo pudieron derrotar una de las potencias de ese tiempo. Pero aquí en Estados Unidos no se nos permite celebrar una independencia de otro país. Eso es lo que yo tengo entendido. Por esa razón celebramos 5 de mayo y en realidad o sea,
Pero
de la
déjame
manera que lo
corregir,
celebramos es correcta.
Rey, déjame corregir algo. No es
Ya.
aquí se puede celebrar lo que uno
Claro,
quiera.
sí
Aquí
se puede.
celebramos la
Sí.
independencia de
Y tenemos
Venezuela, de
fiestas
Cuba.
patrias en septiembre que celebramos.
Ok.
Te voy a decir, te voy a comentar. En mi
Ujú.
opinión, el 5 de mayo es un fallo del sistema de educación pública que crearon
Ok.
esto, pero no importa. Pero
No
quiero
importa.
decirte aquí, en este país no hay restricción. Uno puede
Ok.
celebrar lo que uno le da la gana.
All right. Sí,
Ok.
entonces estaba mal informado sobre eso.
Ajá.
Sí,
Sí, yo
pero
pensé.
sí es importante enfatizar que 5 de mayo no es la independencia de México, porque tú le preguntas a muchos americanos y dicen, oh, well, it's Mexican Independence Day, but it's
Yeah.
not.
Public school
No, it's
It's
not.
not, yeah. Pero bueno, mira, sea por lo que sea, realmente ha sido un día donde se conmemora algo importante para México, pero algo también muy importante ha salido de ahí, ha surgido de ahí para ustedes, los empresarios, los dueños de restaurantes mexicanos e inclusive los dueños de restaurantes, no importa si es mexicano o no, todos los restaurantes celebran 5 de mayo y tienen el especial de margarita y aunque a veces no venden margaritas, ese día venden margaritas porque es el día de demandas de margaritas y todo el mundo le va súper bien. Ese día todo el mundo sale a celebrar 5 de mayo y me acuerdo el año pasado cuando estuvimos en la pandemia que no estaban abiertos los restaurantes, se permitía el margarita to go. Así que de todas maneras se vendió bastante y Rey, de verdad que felicitaciones por todo lo que has logrado y por ese sueño americano porque todos venimos con esas ganas de mejores oportunidades, de sobresalir en este país que lo que tú dices, acá en este país mi papá siempre dice, este país es muy paternalista, en este país tú logras lo que tú quieras, en este país
Sí.
tú vienes a trabajar y tú de verdad ves los frutos y los resultados y eso es lo hermoso de este país, yo por eso amo tanto este país y decidí tener mis hijos en este país y por eso me pongo la camiseta y me duele este país y todo lo que está ocurriendo en este momento, por eso yo pienso que debemos unirnos como latinos y no solamente hacer sentir nuestra voz, pero hacer la diferencia. Y cuando digo hacer la diferencia es participar, es de verdad correr para posiciones en el gobierno, no quedarnos callados como no se quedó callada Anel cuando vio que estaban endoctrinando a su hijo. Eso es lo que tenemos que hacer en este país, no solamente crear trabajos como tú lo estás haciendo, Rey, pero de hacer sentir nuestra voz y no quedarnos callados.
Sí, y yo estoy de acuerdo con ellos que la educación empieza en casa. Okay, uno como
Exactamente.
padres tiene que educar a sus hijos, tiene que enseñarles que aquí, o sea, se viene a trabajar, no se viene a pedir. Que
Correcto.
aquí, o sea, si tú sueñas tener algo, lo puedes lograr. Sí, todo es posible.
Ujú.
Aquí, cuando te dicen el cielo es el límite, es cierto. Tú puedes lograrlo. Trabajando se puede. Y yo lo he visto, o sea, lo he vivido en carne propia. O sea, de que esto es un país que te da todo.
Ujú.
Sí, en México decimos, no quiero que me den en las manos, nada más dígame dónde está, yo voy y lo busco, yo lo encuentro. Sí, nosotros los latinos somos somos muy familiar, somos algo muy unido, pero como en realidad cuando nos enfocamos mucho en el trabajo, nos olvidamos de eso. No sé, o sea, si a ustedes les ha pasado que trabaja uno para poder lograr algo, entonces se le llama sacrificio. Tienes que sacrificar, pasar tiempo con tu familia para poder tú tener algo que darles y que ellos no pasen por lo que tú pasaste.
Así es.
Claro, pero darles el ejemplo, es bien importante darles el ejemplo y la educación empieza en casa, como dices tú, todos los días, es todos los días aportar nuestro granito de arena y no dejar que sean los demás quienes eduquen a nuestros hijos, pero tenemos una responsabilidad y una labor muy grande como padres nosotros y sobre todo como padres inmigrantes que tenemos que darle un ejemplo a nuestros hijos, que en este país llegamos a trabajar y por eso hemos logrado lo que hemos logrado, pero ellos, no porque nacieron acá en este país, se lo merecen todo. Ellos también deben trabajar para ganar lo mismo y para ganarse en un puesto y una posición importante, así como lo hemos logrado muchos inmigrantes que llegamos a este país, llegamos a trabajar y para nosotros es una labor doble, más difícil llegar a tomar una posición importante en este país porque nos toca doble, es el reto del idioma, el reto que mientras tenemos el proceso migratorio, son muchos retos los que enfrentamos, pero por eso es importante educar a nuestros hijos y el que tiene la educación tiene el poder.
Yo quiero regresar a las margaritas, Ray. Cuántos galones de margaritas van a servir hoy?
Mira, tengo 3 contenedores, aproximadamente unos 100 galones de margarita.
Au.
100 galones aproximadamente. No, pero tú viste qué tamaño son las margaritas que yo sirvo. Son de 10 onzas. So, es muchísimo.
Gigantes. Bueno,
I had to ask,
Margarita to go.
I had to ask Ray the question: how many gallons of margaritas are they going to go through today? And he says, well over 100 gallons of margaritas.
Wow.
So, anyway, Ray, let me just say that I've had the opportunity to meet you, and you're a jewel of a human being for many reasons. Because you make your native country of Mexico proud. You're a hardworking luchador. You're a hardworking immigrant that has made vast contributions in our city and in our state. You're living the American dream as an entrepreneur, as a taxpayer, as a successful businessman, as a family man, as well recognized and well embraced by your community out in West Harris County. And folks, this is the immigrant. This is the Mexican immigrant that comes here to work, but they're not just from Mexico. They come from El Salvador, they come from Cuba, they come from Colombia, Venezuela, Nicaragua, Bolivia, Ecuador. We're fortunate to have that basic value as an immigrant that comes to this country, and we express our values. And so that's the whole purpose of our political action committee, is to encourage the Latino community in Texas to vote their values, to get involved in their local community,
To educate
their kids, not to allow their children to be indoctrinated by the public education system. And I'm not trashing the public education system. I know there are great educators out there. I know there are great superintendents out there. And we as property taxpayers want a good public education system. But what we will not put up with is the infiltration by the left, by the socialists in this country, to brainwash our children at our public expense with our tax dollars. Ain't gonna happen. And I'm just delighted to see that immigrants like Ray and friends in the Rio Grande Valley like Anel and our school board members down in San Benito are fighting back. And Ray, es un orgullo tenerte en el programa y ver que has tenido tanto suceso en este país. Eres un orgullo, me imagino, para tu país nativo, México, porque estás representando muy bien a nosotros, los inmigrantes en este país, y te felicitamos.
Gracias, gracias. Y, o sea, no solamente soy yo, son ustedes también que nos hacen compartir el espacio con personas que no saben que el latino también contribuye. como dicen ustedes, o sea, nosotros venimos, pagamos impuestos, nosotros, o sea, ayudamos a la comunidad en lo que se puede, ¿verdad? Somos latinos. Mis hijos inclusive me dicen, no, es que ellos piensan que tú eres blanco. No, yo no soy blanco, soy hispano. Dice, pero por la manera que trabajas, por la manera que tú te desarrollas en el trabajo, o sea, eso es lo que es un blanco. Entonces tú tienes que ser un blanco. Si eso es lo que lleva para ellos tomar un respeto hacia ti, demuestra, trabaja, haz lo tuyo, o sea, no seas una carga, sea un motor que genere trabajo, que genere respeto hacia las demás personas, porque de otra manera no lo vas a hacer. Si te sientas y te pones a complain for everything, eso no ayuda a nada.
Right.
Tienes que salir y trabajar.
Yeah. Bueno, Ray, lo importante es explicarle a tus hijos que los izquierdistas, los socialistas, quieren dividirnos, blanco, negro, mexicano, cubano, colombiano,
Yeah.
mujer, hombre. No debemos de permitir que nos dividan. Lo importante para decirle a nuestros hijos, como le digo yo a mi hija, tú eres una ciudadana norteamericana orgullosa de raíces hispanas.
Correct.
Entonces, igual debes de decirle a tus hijos, olvídate de lo que te dicen los izquierdistas. Ustedes son ciudadanos norteamericanos y tienen una responsabilidad, como dice usted, para contribuir a este país.
Así es.
Bueno, Rey, muchísimas gracias por haber estado con nosotros y compartir no solamente tu historia, pero tu tiempo en un día tan ocupado como 5 de mayo y vámonos a celebrar y a que se venda muchísima margarita el día de hoy.
Y Ray, si hay tiempo y ella no tiene nada que hacer ahorita, vamos para allá a almorzar.
Ah,
Por favor,
dale. Ya
Ok.
por
está.
favor,
Vamos a ir a
les
comer allá
espero.
entonces.
Bueno, te mandamos un abrazo muy fuerte, mucho éxito. Te invitamos que regreses cuando quieras y posiblemente te vemos en un ratito. Así que Dios te bendiga.
Igualmente, muchas gracias por darme este espacio. Ah, ¿Qué puedo decir? O sea, me queda sin palabras. O sea, conocer personas como ustedes. Y que tengan buen día. Que Dios nos bendiga. Y nos vemos pronto.
Okay, Ray.
Chao,
So,
chao. So,
Ray,
happy 5 de mayo. Vamos a echarnos un taquito.
You want to run over there?
Dale.
Let's go over there and
Vamos.
grab
Y nos
lunch.
tomamos una foto y la ponemos. Vamos a echarnos un taquito y
All
una
right, that's
margarita.
what we're going to do. We're going to run over to Ray's. We're going to grab a taco and no margaritas because we're driving, but we'll get a picture and we'll put it on social media on Facebook. So anyway, thanks guys for joining us. We had a full show today. Again, we are a general purpose PAC, Texas Latino Conservatives. It's a political action committee in the state of Texas. And we tried to get the Hispanic community to vote their values. We do endorse candidates like our wonderful young 19-year-old newly elected city councilman-elect Roman Garcia in the city of Kerrville, who the liberals thought they were going to defeat with a wise old liberal. And guess what? Roman was outspent, but he won because he has the heart of a warrior. He's a fighter, and we went in there and held a big rally for him. So that's what we do. We elect these young people that are standing up, speaking up, and saying, we're not leftist, we're not socialist, we may be immigrants, but we love this country, and our values are important to be shared with the rest of our American neighbors, which we're all U.S. citizens, and if, we may be immigrants, but we're either naturalized or we're the children of immigrants, but we have one thing in common. We're conservative. We love this country. We're grateful for the opportunities that God has given us and that the American taxpayer has afforded us the opportunity to participate in this dream, which is the American dream. And so that's our political action committee, but we also have a nonprofit 501c4 where we educate the community, where we train young people like Roman Garcia and Freddie Arellano and Luisa del Rosal and Mayra Flores and all of our great candidates that are doing great things in the state of Texas. Monica de la Cruz, also running for U.S. Congress. This is what gives me hope that the state of Texas and the United States will continue to be a leading force in the world with the help of the conservative Latino voice in the state of Texas. So we depend on contributions both on the nonprofit side and on our political action committee. So if you want to help us, go to our website, TexasLatinoConservatives.com, TexasLatinoConservatives.com. You need to reach out to us. Our phone number's there. If you need us to come speak to your community, we're happy to do that. Andrea doesn't like to travel a lot because there's not a lot of 10-star hotels in small counties.
No, because
in
I have
Texas.
kids. I have two kids. I have teenagers. That's why.
But I will travel, and I will stay in flea bag hotels to make sure that our residents across the state of Texas hear the Latino conservative voice. So help us out if you can. Andrea, I'll give you the last word before we head out to Reyes.
Nada, nos vamos ya para Donde Rey a celebrar 5 de mayo. Gracias a todos por habernos acompañado y recuerde siempre visitarnos en texaslatiноconservatives.com y no solamente que sea miembro de nuestra familia, que sigamos creciendo, pero también haga sus donaciones porque nosotros pues necesitamos donaciones para seguir haciendo toda esta labor que estamos haciendo en Texas Latino Conservatives y texaslatiноconservatives.com. Así que vayan y sean miembros. Ya nos vamos para allá, Ray, a echarnos un taquito y a probar tus margaritas.
All right, guys, we'll see you next week. God bless you all. God
Nos vemos
bless
el próximo
Texas.
miércoles.